I want to talk a little bit about perspectives, because the structure of schools and the structure of how we thought our path should be in the life, I don't think it's designed to help people to develop themselves as a person. What do you think people should question most in the path that they've been taught to follow?
I think for me, at least, it has been motivation and passion. If I work 9 to 5 in a job I'm not motivated, I don't like, I cannot thrive as a person either. Person and professional, it doesn't work for me. I think you have to question yourself really deep and see what brings you fire. What is your engine? What brings you forward? What makes you grow?
It's very difficult for people to find it. It's very difficult to find it, because even if you think this is what I should do, or this is what makes me happy, it changes. In 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, it changes, and it turns you into a different person. And you are again in the job or in the career that you loved and made you happy, but now you know.
Yeah, I think that people, human beings are not supposed to stay in one place. Actually, our brains develop to move. And to move, it can be physically or figuratively. We grow all the time, we change, and we shouldn't keep in one place the whole time. We need to follow our growth and listen to it. So I arrived to one place. Is this the end? No, I don't think so. When I arrive to my goal, I look forward and I say, okay, now what? What do I do?
Okay, for our followers, let's say if they want to start searching or starting their journey, do you think it's difficult to have one big goal to follow and say, that's where I want to get, and I'm going to do 10, 15, 20 years of my road to get there? Or do you think it's more important to do structurally, day by day, small wins, small plans, small structures, but do it disciplinedly, that you do every day and you're every day closer to your goal? What do you think will be more powerful for, let's say, for people that want to start from zero and want to create something? What will be the, let's say, the safer way to start?
So I think that really depends on the person, because we are all different. And if we listen, there are many motivational people in internet, Instagram, and they always tell you, you should do this, atomic habits, or you should have one goal and that will fire your life up. For me, it doesn't work like that. And I realized later in life, actually, I was struggling when I was in university because I didn't find the discipline to work every day, to study every day. And I was questioning myself, what is wrong with me? Why everybody else can make it and I'm not doing it that way. And then I realized, actually only a few years ago, that I have ADHD. So for me, it's impossible.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Actually, it was good news for me.
It is a good news.
You know, because I revisited my whole life and my study years at university, and I said, wow, I was just different. I work in a different way.
It just made sense afterwards.
It made sense because during university, I was like, I must be stupid. And I honestly thought so. And with this new key of lecture, I could revisit those years and say, no, I'm not stupid. I'm actually different and I need to follow what is my real nature. So for some people, it works to be disciplined every day, start at 9 or start at 5 if you want, and do 8 hours or whatever works for you. Do it, absolutely. For me, it doesn't work. I suffer doing that. So I am more creative in this sense. I need to follow, I need some structure, it's true. Otherwise, I will never get there. For example, for ADHD people, it works having a deadline, and that works very well. Or some motivation. For a neurodivergent person, if you have to do something that is really mechanical, or for example, my taxes. I hate doing my taxes. Everybody hates that. But for me...
Because we don't like to pay.
Yeah, also, but that's a different story. But for me, it's really painful at the physical level when I have to do my taxes. And so you have to find your tricks on how to do it. For example, put a deadline, have a snack at the same time, drink your favorite drink, whatever works, you know? So the tricks are different for each person. So for me, the baseline is always know yourself.
Have a drink. Would you say you are successful?
I am successful, yes.
Okay, if you look back 10 years, was a success the same meaning for you as is success now?
No, of course not.
What changed?
I was a different person. I had different interests, I had different goals, I had different level of maturity, and that allowed me to think out of the box until a certain point.
Okay.
And I had different self-esteem also. So according to who you are in that moment, you can attain certain things, but then you want to grow, you want to go to the next level. And your potential is infinite, honestly. You can do so many things that you wouldn't even believe. And you have to believe in yourself, because eventually, if you don't believe in yourself, you will get nowhere.
Nobody will.
And nobody will.
True that. So out of all your experience, out of all your journeys, out of all your, let's say good and bad moments in life that forms you into the person that you are, and you are absolutely incredible person. I'm honored to interview you today. Important question for me is, what brought you to photography?
It started a bit by chance. I started taking pictures, you know, you start with your phone, and then you see that I saw that I enjoyed it. Eventually, other people saw it. And it happened 2 times in my life that people gift me with a camera.
Right.
And that was also a sign, right? It was what you exude, it's what you project onto others. And the true passion, you feel it, but also other people feel it. So many people told me, I listen to your stories about photography and I get enthusiastic with you.
That's amazing.
This
That
is
amazing.
a very good sign.
That is amazing. So where did the photography brought you in your life?
It brought me to first a hobby, but I never thought, you know, anything bigger than that, because I was focused on something else, which is interesting, right? And then I realized, especially as an ADHD, you start so many hobbies and then you end them after a few lessons or a few months, and that's it. And photography stuck with me. It was always there. There was maybe a year or 2 that I didn't do it, but because I had major life events, but then it came back.
Was it with photography? Was it for you that made you fall in love with it? Was it the chance that you can create something, the creativity part, or the part that you are in control of what you are doing?
No, I think it's really losing control for me. When I have a camera in my hands, it's like a step into another world. I see the world differently and it excites me. I see what I can capture, and I see also things that I didn't believe I could capture. And it's even more amazing. So I don't think it's control for me. Control, indeed, I don't like studio photography, because there you have everything under control. For me, that is too aseptic.
Okay.
I like real life, going out there and discovering stories.
Do you have your favorite shot of all the time?
Yeah, because there is a story behind it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we see it?
Yes.
Okay. Here it is. So what is the story behind this picture?
The story behind this picture is I was actually heartbroken.
Okay.
My boyfriend at the time broke up with me, and we were supposed to go on a trip together to Morocco.
Okay.
And then I was like, bah, I shouldn't go alone. You know, I felt like I never traveled to Africa, and again, everybody's fear was projecting onto me.
Of
And
course.
they were telling me, oh, you shouldn't go to Africa alone as a solo traveler, female solo traveler. And I was like, are you sure though? And then I said, you know what, I'm going. I don't care.
Amazing. Amazing.
I went to Marrakesh alone. Of course, at first, those fears of the other people affected me. So I was a bit wary. I was trying to understand what is the situation. Is it safe? Is it not? Makes sense, I think. When you are in a new environment, you don't know, and you observe also other people to understand what is the local culture, and you try to blend in. At least this is what I do. And I was always very respectful of the local traditions and way of dressing up, for example. And actually, I never felt unsafe. I always felt super safe. I always felt welcome. But this is another story. Let's go back to the picture. And so I was supposed to be there for 8 days. I had a trip to the desert of 3 days. And the night before, I get really anxious about this trip. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. You know why? Because it was this kind of touristic trip where you go in a minibus and you stop for 20 minutes, take your picture, go to the bathroom, take a coffee, and start again. And I was like, this is not me. I don't want to do this. I canceled the trip, I think at 5 in the morning. I didn't sleep the whole night. And instead I said, I want to do my own trip. I hired a driver. We bargained on the price, of course, as you do. And I had this driver for myself. I said, I want to go to this place and come back. You are my driver for the day. And again, the night before, I was looking at the map, Google Maps, and the route. And I found a little point in the middle of nowhere with 3 pictures of a palace and nothing else. Abandoned palace. I said to my driver, can we go there? He said yes. And I was the happiest person in the world. Basically, we went to a secluded village in the mountains where I found this beautiful abandoned palace. It had arches and carvings, and it was just there. Nobody noticed that. And I felt like I found a treasure, you know?
Of course.
And it was on top of a cliff, above a valley. It was super beautiful. And then a person appears. It's an old person dressed in traditional attire. He's a Berber. We speak a little bit French, but I felt touched by his attitude. He was very kind and smiling and welcoming, and he accompanied me visiting the palace. It was touching. Amazing. It was amazing. And then at the end, actually he suggested, do you want to take a picture of me? And this was my best picture ever.
Amazing.
Because of the story behind it.
That is some story. That is amazing.
And actually I went back this year and I met again this guy.
Same guy?
Same guy. He's 92. This
Wow.
time I went with the translator so I could speak more with him. And he actually remembered me.
Amazing.
From a year before.